And it's Monday, December 3rd, the week of, whenever you guys are listening to this. I have a familiar voice in studio, a voice that you're going to remember if you've been listening up to this point. We're going to call this episode the year-end recap with my boy, my mate. I'm going to start saying mate, Justin. Justin, what's up, buddy?
Not too much, man. How are you?
Dude, I'm fantastic. It's a beautiful day. It's nice and rainy.
Yeah, whatever you want to call this. As long as it's not snow with me, it's fine.
Dude, it's washing away the snow.
That's good.
We're just barely into December, and I'm already sick of the snow.
Well, here's the problem. Winter, we all know winter officially doesn't start around here until after Christmas. January, February is when it's miserable.
The worst 2 months
it's just absolutely
of existence,
miserable. Yeah. Especially, only if you're up here, really. Like, you can get out of here, then, like, do it. But those January and February... And in the Midwest, it's, at least for me, someone growing up here, I can't stand it.
Yeah, I think I'm getting older because I'm starting to feel it more like in my bones and in my joints.
More stiff.
And I'm starting to feel like everybody's mom and dad. That, when you see them get up, they're just like cracking and popping and sore. And I think largely a lot of that has to do with doing martial arts.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, I feel like I've been hit like a train lately. And it's starting to affect me on the mats and stuff. And I'm just
you're
thinking,
moving a little slower when you're going to get your coffee. Moving a little slower, dude.
I mean, I do have a birthday this month, but I feel like I've already aged like 10 years in just like the past 2 weeks alone, from gorging on Thanksgiving food to this weather, all the snow.
Yeah, I know we mentioned this is like a recap episode. I thought 2017 flew by. Oh, dude, 2018, like, didn't happen.
Dude, it was quick.
It didn't happen. It was Easter yesterday.
We started practicing these in early March.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we haven't had, like the year celebration episode, which is actually coming up in 3 months.
Yeah.
Wild to think about.
Right.
But this year has flown by, and I can't believe we've been still chipping away every week, still doing the dang thing.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, you've had guests and stuff like that. Life happens, vacations, schedules, but yeah, man, we like you said, we started practicing. I mean, this has been an idea we've had for
2 years at this point.
I was going to say about 2 years, ever since, I met you at 120 Sports. We kind of knew off the bat that we had that UFC, like MMA connection and stuff like that. And like that was I would say kind of initiated our friendship, because I didn't really... because
you got to have something in common when you meet somebody.
Well,
some
but
common
even like
ground.
2 years ago, like I still even find it hard today to find, like, not even necessarily a hardcore UFC fan, but like somebody who you don't just talk about Conor McGregor with. You know what I mean? Let's talk about a Tai Tuivasa or whoever. Like, let's talk about something a little bit more not like unknown people. And it was tough to find that. And like, when I find that with somebody, I'm like, oh, dude, let's talk about everything then.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think? What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Blah, 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 blah. Like,
is that kind of like the hipster version of martial arts? Because think about it. You always had those friends growing up that would listen to, I'm air quoting for the listeners who can't see, like the people that would find the underground music and be on the underground or the indie music scene. Is that kind of the same thing when you're talking about fighters who just aren't established yet, but maybe they're just either coming into the big show or they're just got into the big show and nobody knows who they are? Is that like our version of being like underground fans? And
I mean, I would say yeah. I mean, super hardcores. I mean, we were kind of just mentioning it off air here, like Ultimate Fighter. Like, I mean, there's a lot of people who started on the Ultimate Fighter. You know what I mean? Like, I remember watching Nate Diaz when he was on the Ultimate Fighter. You know what I mean? Or like season 1, Forrest Griffin.
Season 1, Forrest Griffin, Diego Sanchez.
Yeah. Like, so like, I mean, so.
Well, I guess how funny is that I've had Shoney Carter, who was on season, was it 4 with the return?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But to answer your question, I guess that's a little bit more of a hipstery, like underground kind of thing. Because of course everybody's going to know like GSP, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey, whoever, Chris Cyborg and stuff like that. But yeah, once you get, there are guys who are ranked 5 and below and stuff like that. That's when, honestly, before this past weekend, who really knew much about Kamaru Usman?
Well, yeah, us underground, us
That's
indie.
what I mean. Like
indie
we've known
fans.
about him for years. I think we've even talked about him on practice podcasts and all this kind of stuff. Like we've known about him for a while, but you know what I mean. A lot of people got introduced to him this past weekend.
Right,
You know?
man. The way he put a beat down on Dos Anjos too,
Yeah.
like that's what I want people to know about wrestling. And in my opinion, wrestling is the best form of
Yeah.
martial arts to know, because if you can control that pace, can dictate where that fight goes, and be in that phenomenal shape that most wrestlers are,
Yeah.
so that you can still go like King Kong in the 5th round and ground and pound like
Yeah.
Usman did, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you what, as somebody who just wrestles jiu-jitsu and things like that, how is this guy's body, like, I need to get on their recovery, like,
Oh, yeah.
whatever they're doing, that's what I need right
Yeah.
now. And I say that because I'm in so much pain this morning, because I was at the
Yeah.
gym late last night.
Like I know we want to keep this as like a yearly episode, but does he get a title shot now?
Well, I mean, I think he has to get the winner of Woodley and
Covington?
But here's what I'm interested in now. I want to see. I'm hoping Askren goes through Lawler next year. So when we're gonna do a segment here in a minute
Askren Usman?
of like what we're looking forward to in 2019. Well, that's what I want to kick it off with.
Oh, okay.
Is that? But
sorry, spoiler.
No,
alert.
you're good. No, we still want to recap 2018, dude. 2018.
It's been a crazy year and a great year at the same time.
Man, it's been wild.
It's been wild, man. So
We went to a UFC in Chicago.
for my first fighting event, boxing, amateur MMA, amateur boxing, anything like that. I mean, I went to like friends' wrestling tournaments growing up. Like that's nothing. That's hanging out with your buddies. That's not, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
paid admission kind of thing. That was my first thing, and that was to this day. I mean, it was a great night of fights to begin with. And it was just an awesome experience.
Dude, because you're a big Tua fan. And
Big
that
Tua
was
fan.
your introduction to him in person.
Oh, dude, it was so awesome.
Like, he's forever ingrained. Like
Oh,
no matter,
yeah.
he could be like, Mark Hunt's legacy, where he
Yeah.
could lose a bunch of fights, but have a bunch
Yeah.
of spectacular wins as
Yeah.
well. He's going to be your dude to the end,
I mean,
isn't he? He drank a shoey as he left the octagon.
he does it every time, man.
He drank 2, I believe.
Yeah. And then we got to see Colby Covington become the interim champion and call out Tyron Woodley. And then we got to see a fight of the year candidate in Whitaker Romero too. I mean, even though there was no belt on the line, and I was very upset about that. And there's that whole controversy of the Illinois Commission stopped Romero from cutting weight, blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Regardless of all that, that is still a fight of the year candidate.
Regardless of all that, that was during a run in the summertime when there was a lot of main events and co-main events just falling off cards,
Yeah.
not making weight, crazy things happening. That was a weird summer
Yeah.
for the UFC, because they had, I think, somewhere by that point in August, they had like 13, I want to say, like they had a baker's dozen around
Oh, yeah.
there of people dropping off cards or not making weight. That was the main or co-main event.
I mean, was the last time they booked Tony Khabib, was that earlier 2018 when Tony Ferguson fought Kevin Lee, or was that late 2017?
See, I can't remember, but I remember Tony Ferguson came back in like 5 or 6 months, which was unreal
It was unheard of.
for the injury
unheard
he
of.
had.
Yeah.
And how about his fight on his return? Like, you could tell he was a little nervous because he didn't know how that knee was going to hold up. But when he fought Pettis, and Pettis, I've watched a lot of Anthony Pettis fights, and Pettis gave him, I think, Pettis' best shot in that fight when Tony was having to roll away from him and get his wits back. But that just shows you how tough and how gangster Tony Ferguson is.
I love Anthony Pettis. I think he was fading. I think even if he didn't break his hand, I think he would have been finished in one of the final 2 rounds. But that's another fight too. That is, even though it was only 3 rounds, I wish it could have gone all 5. That could have been another fight of the year candidate.
See, I'm glad it didn't go all 5, because being a big Tony fan, that put the
Oh yeah, he's right back in the discussion now.
Yeah, that just put the stamp on his title shot to get like Khabib.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no other choice.
Yeah.
Like,
Or what? I mean, we didn't even talk about that. What's going on with Khabib? The whole Conor Khabib fiasco happened.
hang on, do you think Conor's star this year has fallen, and he's potentially heading in the direction of the Ronda Rousey falling completely off the map thing? Because the rumors of him fighting Donald Cerrone, and everybody's talking about it. It's been in all the big media journalism things. Donald Cerrone's tweeting about it. I think that would be a good fight just because I want to see Donald get paid.
Same here.
And Conor needs a win.
He needs a win.
I don't even know if he can beat Cerrone.
He's definitely taken, 3 out of his last 4 fights he's lost. If you include, well, no, I guess it would be 5 out of 6 because he ran it back with Nate and won.
I want to see that fight just because I know they're going to stand for a while. And I think Donald's actually getting smarter, and Donald might take him down at this point. But I'm such a Cowboy fan. Like, we're talking about you and Tua, like how you're going to be a Tua fan. Like, Donald Cerrone is that for me. Me watching him back in the WEC days, and that's where I found Uriah Faber. And, so Uriah Faber and Donald Cerrone quickly became, like, my first 2 favorites, which my first favorite ever was, Matt Hughes in the UFC because you're introduced to the UFC before. But, watching those lighter weight guys, UFC didn't have them at the time. I really fell in love with Uriah Faber. But watching those cards, there's this dude named Donald Cowboy Cerrone on there.
And he's got the most wins in UFC history now, I believe, with his win over Mike Perry. And how cool was that the UFC went back to, was it Denver, where they hosted their first ever UFC event when they hosted the 25-year. And that Korean zombie Yair Rodriguez fight, how crazy was that? That's my pick for fight of the year probably right now.
Dude, that's your boy. Yair's from Chicago.
He's from Chicago. But I'm a huge Korean zombie fan. I think I understand he has an obligation to his country to do his 2 years of service, but that stinks so much for UFC fans that we had to miss that for 2 years. Because that's how all of his fights are. He just wants to stand there and, you want to talk about a Hail Mary, and we know what a Hail Mary is in a football game. That is a Hail Mary in a UFC fight if I've ever seen one.
I want to disagree with that, and I've thought about this.
Well, not a Hail Mary, not like he didn't know what he was doing, but like just let's stand here and bang for 10 seconds, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And then just catch. What a slick move by Yair, but...
See, because when I think of a Hail Mary in fighting, I think of somebody just, whether you're right-handed, left-handed, so we're just going to say an orthodox right-handed person, throwing that it's kind of,
the Rumble Johnson punch.
Yeah, it's like it comes from way back. It's the Ngannou punch. Like, that's the Hail Mary, that big overhand right.
Yeah.
That's just
okay,
like,
that's fair.
Like, you just throw it with fully bad intentions.
Yeah.
You're either throwing it because, hey, I want to end this early, or, like, Derek Lewis did at the end. I'm throwing this because I got to win this fight. That's the Hail Mary punch. That's the Hail Mary punch. So what I think of with that sweet elbow from Yair is art at its finest. Like he Picasso'd that fight at the end. He's like, it's been beautiful now.
Let me put the finishing touches on it.
Oh,
and the thing is, I thought he was losing that fight. That's the crazy thing too. He was losing, but he won obviously. But I had him losing that fight up until that point.
I became a fan of watching Korean zombie fights when I just really enjoyed Dustin Poirier's streak, and he caught Dustin Poirier in a Darce, and I was like, oh yeah, jiu-jitsu is so real, and it doesn't care who you are.
He's got a little bit of like that Tony Ferguson free flow kind of stuff to him. Just kind of like, hey, I'm gonna try some stuff, and it's either gonna work and it's going to look cool, or it's not going to work and it's still going to look cool. Like, I'm my own, I've got my own style. Like, I'll incorporate all these different aspects of it, but I'm going to do my own thing. And
it's art, man.
And it works. He's winning.
It's art. And I think about that every time I step on the mats myself is like, okay, Steven, what's your mindset today? What are you looking for? How are you going to, display your form of art tonight?
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, I want to be the artist painting on the canvas, doing well. But sometimes I'm that canvas and I'm getting painted on. And that's most of the time. It's not sometimes. That's most of the time. But
so I got a question for you, partner.
What is it?
So we've been doing this now, since, like I said, we've had this idea, and then we've been practicing since, early March, March, and then went live in June, I believe.
No, May 30th.
May 30th. Okay, sorry. May 30th we went live. What has been your favorite thing about like starting the podcast, and like not like we have accomplished a lot, but like in the 10 months that we've been doing this, what is like the coolest thing, or like something that you'll always remember? Just, I don't know, something that
No, I got this right off the bat. I didn't even get any prep for this, but I have it all down in my head because I think about this all the time. And my favorite thing about this podcast so far is that I get to have conversations with amazing people people I know, amazing people I've gotten to know. So like, I really enjoy sitting down and talking with Josh, the head instructor of 10th Planet, because he always has something like very powerful to say. I shouldn't say always, because he'll get mad if I say always, and now that holds him to high expectations, but I want him to be held to those high expectations. He always drops some knowledge, and then going back and editing those and getting to re-listen to all these podcasts, that is amazing. But then I get to sit down with, close friends like John Mejia, Matt Paul, like guys that, have taught me a lot on the mats as well. And then hear how, they've done, big jiu-jitsu tournaments like Fight to Win, and Matt, in pro MMA fights, and then getting to meet Brittany Elkin.
Oh yeah.
Dude,
absolutely.
Like, female MMA fighters are some awesome, badass people. And to get to meet her was phenomenal. Getting to meet Shoni Carter and sit there with my boy Patrick B while he gets to, ask Shoni some questions. And he didn't even know Shoni as a fighter for a long time. He knew him because, Pat works for the CTA, met him that way, and then just, struck up like a family friend relationship. And then it was like, oh, he fights. And then diving into that side of the world. And then, so Shoni had his kid there, which was kind of cool because like his kid could go back and listen to this. And I think that I'm most excited about because I want to give back. Like I want to give back to these people who have given something to me, whether, we're training together, whether we're, just friends. Like I've had friends on the podcast, like that have a lot of good stuff to say. Like my friend Kyle, for example.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then, like my friend Dean, like he just comes in here and just drops electricity. And every time I get around that guy, and he's about to be on another one coming up with Steve Dow, because those two are going to drop like some sweet knowledge from the MMA game, because Dean's getting into it. Steve trains people. So I think that the accumulation of what this podcast has been like this cool experience of getting to have these conversations that I can also go back and listen to.
Yeah.
That you just like little nuggets are dropped, and sometimes you can be right in front of somebody's face, but you don't really catch it at the time. But then you go back, and listen to it, or when I'm editing it and I'm listening to them, and I'm like, oh my goodness, how did I miss that live? In the conversation, I could have went from from saying what I said to something else and went down a whole better path probably.
Yeah.
So I think that it's helped me my growth as a person, like even as a conversationalist.
Yeah.
So like there's so many things, like small things that have added up to like the cool experiences, to the talking techniques, to the editing, the putting out content, to going to the blogs, to doing the instructional videos. These are going to be live on YouTube, one day. And so I think like it's because it's so new that there's been so much that every aspect of it has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
If that's my long form answer for all that.
Yeah, I mean, I
thought it was going to be a lot shorter. It really wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with everything you say, and I just think, I don't know, it just, with all the different conversations, because obviously, you've spearheaded the whole thing, like you're the host and everything, I'm just the co-host and stuff like that, but it just, I've always not had a fear of like public speaking, but like people hate to hear their voice and all this kind of stuff like that, and like putting yourself out there like that, it's, it is kind of raw and kind of like, hey, what are people are actually people are hearing your thoughts and stuff like that. And like people that you have zero human interaction with, people, what I mean, are just going to hear your stuff. And then that's, it's just, that's a cool aspect of it. And everything you've told me, it sounds like we've gotten.
Do you think it's a little different though, because you're not speaking to a crowd of people?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Would that be a little harder if we just had an audience here?
Because you got people, I personally don't do it, but you got people who listen to podcasts while they're working out. So, I mean, people could be listening to us while they're, warming up at the gym, or while they're, running on the treadmill, or they're at their grocery store or something like that. It's just, you can listen to it anywhere. That's so cool. And just, I don't know, it's a little raw and you're more exposed because, you can post on Facebook and you can tweet, but the only people who are going to see that stuff are your family and your friends and stuff, like who you choose to see that, but unless you get trending or go viral, but what are the odds of that happening, really? You know what I mean? And you know, this helps you step out of your comfort zone a little bit, which is always good. And then it also shows me that the world is a lot smaller than people think. Like you're having all these interests. Like obviously, when I'm not on the show, I'll listen to the podcast, and it just makes you think that all these different people who have had such different lives than I've had are 15 miles away. Like you know what I mean? I mean, it's obviously Chicago, so it's a little different. And,
right.
You know
There's so many people packed in this small area.
Yeah, but it's just, man, you really don't know anyone. Like, I think I have an amazing group of friends. Like, we had a Friendsgiving that had like 40 plus people over. Like, I have an amazing group of friends. I have an amazing family. But then it's just like, holy cow, there are so many different people out there with so many different stories, and just, and it's just cool
that's another thing that I really like about this podcast is I've had people at work, at school, not a lot, but a few that just come up to me and say, hey man, I checked out your podcast. You know, it was really cool, or, you know, they'll have something nice to say about it. And I'm like, whoa, I would have never expected you. Like, I mean, like, we know faintly know who each other are, but it's not like we're friends or anything, but maybe we're connected, or we have a friend in common and they shared an episode or something. And then this person listened to it, liked it enough. When they saw me, they were going to come say, hey, you know, like, hey, that was really cool. Like, you know, good on you, man, for doing
That's
this.
awesome. And like, and hearing ones from Oklahoma and stuff like that, those are really cool. Cause I've never.
Oh, see, that's one of the ones I left out too. And I totally blanked on that for a second when I was talking a little bit ago. I got to sit down with two of my best friends growing up. Yeah. You know, from being a kid, and one of them was an Army sniper.
And hearing those stories and stuff, and just how all three of you have kind of, you've gone on your own paths, like, since then and stuff like that. And you're talking about how, like, you guys are like little troublemakers and stuff, like growing up and stuff. You know, it's cool hearing those stories, you know, and it's.
Yeah. It does. Like, that's pretty much the human side of what you're going to see of me is like when I talk to those guys, because we do have some stories, a lot of which we can never tell on a podcast.
Oh, right.
But like some of the ones we can, I mean, I think they're relatable.
Oh, yeah.
Most people, you know, we're not all angels and saints.
Oh, yeah.
But what are you most thankful for this year, since it is the season to be thankful, Justin?
Can I give you like a cheesy answer?
Yeah. This could be like a pickup line too.
It's not even that, man. Like I met my girlfriend this year. Like, that's, you know, like, I was single I wasn't sad, I wasn't depressed or anything, but, you know, I was single for a while, and then, you know, I met Caitlin, and, you know, it's been a lot of fun. And, you know, that's what I'm most thankful for in 2018. But I mean, starting that podcast is cool.
I hope she's listening, and I hope that
I get like
this works. Yeah.
No, I'm like not trying to be corny, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I really enjoy my time with her and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's one of the things that's on top of my list. I mean, I'm always thankful for family. It's like all the time I get to spend with my, you know, like my grandparents, and like I realize like how lucky I am to like still have like two grandparents around and stuff like that, you know, and just family and and just Friendsgiving was a couple weeks ago. I have a bunch of great friends that, you know, we're always there for each other and stuff like that. And I mean, I'm thankful for you, man, because I mean, I never would have done this if you know what I mean, because you were like we both had this idea, obviously, but somebody's got to have the actual motivation to do it. Yeah. And you finally were just like, hey, man, come over. There's something I want to talk to you about. I'm like, all right, cool. I thought we were just going to hang out, watch UFC, whatever. You're like, dude, we've been talking about this for freaking a year and a half. We're doing it, man. I'm ordering some effing equipment, and we're doing it. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing it. Yeah. And then
I'm a doer, man. I'm not somebody who just talks. Like, I'll talk at first, and I'll be like, but then I have to run it through my head. Like, all right, is this actually obtainable? Can we stay consistent? You know, does this work? Does this work? You know, what doesn't work? What's going to be the challenges, the pros, the cons? I have to do all that. So like, I'll talk a little bit at first, but then I'm somebody, if the idea has legs, it's either got to get up and walk, or it's just got to fizzle out. So
we'd even talked about this in 2017. And then, I mean, because obviously you know, with you being in school and stuff like that still, we didn't lose touch, but we just didn't talk as much because you wouldn't see each other at work and stuff like that. And just, you know, the idea was just kind of put on the back burner. And then I think you just said one day, man, it just kept bothering you. Like, dude, we talked about this, and the conversation never came up again. And you're just like, screw it, man, I'm doing it. Like, we're doing it. Like,
Man.
either you're coming on this journey with me or getting left behind, man. And it's, you know.
Yeah, that's so true. And I keep in touch with, a handful of people from back there, mostly you and shout out our boy Kaz. I talk to you guys regularly.
Yeah.
Everybody else I keep in touch with. It's just a great, group of people to be around that has inspired me. And to be in that room, honestly, has kind of helped lead to this podcast, because then I got to see what the actual digital, streaming world is all about. And I was like, this is really cool. And people consume a lot of this.
And it really, it doesn't take much.
No, not at all.
I mean, it obviously takes time and dedication, and like you got to do research and stuff, but like
it's discipline.
We were up and running, and I mean, you did 90% of the work. Let's be honest here, maybe even more than that, but we were up and running in 2.5, 3 months.
Yeah, like it was less than that. Once we said we were going, it was less than a month.
Well, I mean, as far as like being live, like being like official, like live posting on stuff, 3-4 months.
No, it was March to the end of May, because I was like, dude, we gotta practice consistency for a couple of months. We have to get better. We have to work out some kinks, learn what we can say, what we can't say, what editing techniques I should use, which ones I shouldn't, because they're pretty free form. I don't really edit many of these. I've edited a little bit of some episodes.
Well, then just some of the stuff you've taught me about, like different sites you're using to host this stuff, and just I've learned in that aspect, and then I've even started listening to more podcasts and kind of how they try to do their thing, and just what I mean. It's just it's just fun. Like it's a conversation that it's a free form conversation. That's just hey, whatever. Let's sit down and talk, man. I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?
I know, dude. And it's a blast. I enjoy having all these conversations with people, because I'm far from perfect. And if I can learn, just sitting down in a podcast, learn one thing from somebody, and I'm like, man, that's pretty awesome. It's made you as, this awesome person that people want to hear, want to sit down with, like to all the guests sitting across from me. So I'm like, if I can just take one thing from, away from this myself even, and I hope the listeners do too, like they take something away from everybody that's on and add it to their lives.
Oh yeah.
We're just always trying to get better. It's just like I'm trying to make these podcasts better. I'm trying to, everything I do in life, I'm trying to do better. Jiu-jitsu, every time I go to, into train and do instructional, I'm just trying to get better.
Yeah.
Everybody there is trying to get better. And if we all just grow together, that's what makes this whole experience really worth it. I think for everybody is just being it together, be kind, share the knowledge.
A little random. I know, this is like our kind of our yearly like wrap up and what we're looking forward to in 2019, blah, blah, blah. But I'm still looking forward to John Jones being back.
Oh, at the end of the month?
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew he wasn't going to be out long. But hang on. I have to ask this question.
Well, do you think he snitched?
I mean, no. I think John Jones, the only thing he's guilty of is doing cocaine and running into women and running away from the crime scene.
Well, how about him saying on Area Hawaii that he still like smokes weed occasionally?
Yeah, because
like, can that get him in trouble?
No.
Or do they take that? Did USADA like take that off like the prohibited list?
Have you been following Sean O'Malley?
A little bit, because he got suspended for.
Sean O'Malley laid out on, I don't know if it was his YouTube thing I was watching or his podcast. I'm not sure. Somebody introduced like that to me. Anyway, but he was talking about you can technically smoke weed or consume THC of some kind up to about 2 weeks before the fight, or however, 2-3 weeks, however long it takes you to get it out of your system on fight night. Okay. It just can't be in your system on fight night. And I believe that, and that's not all camps. It depends on where you're fighting, because sometimes depending on where you're fighting, you can't have it in your system during camp. So as long as you're not in camp, and John Jones, I mean, he's in camp now, but he wasn't in camp. So even when he was, quote unquote suspended, I think he could smoke all the weed he wants.
Okay.
And let's be real. A lot of people smoke weed in this world, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I think there was I don't know where it came from, but I think,
I honestly think,
I don't know.
I don't even think like, and I don't do it, but like the cocaine use, like, I don't even think that's that bad. Like if that's what you want to do, as long as you're not high on coke the night of, or the night before, that weekend, like, cool, go do it. If John Jones needs that excuse to like, if I was to lose this fight, it's because I was on a bender the weekend or 2 weeks before. Hey, whatever you need in your mind,
right,
to
get
do what you do.
Yeah, you're fighting. Like, why does it have to be like all these? Like, I get the whole like not taking steroids and testosterone, but I get that. But like, if there's, it's not like what competitive advantage would like smoking a joint give you?
I don't know, but
I know it helps with inflammation and stuff, but that's a recovery thing. That's good. That's what you want.
I want to get one of the Diaz brothers at least on the podcast someday, and I want to ask them, how many times have you fought?
Just stoned out of your mind.
Yeah, pre-USADA days.
Not stoned out of your mind, but
stoned,
yeah.
like, because they have anxiety, and it helps them with their anxiety. So something tells me, because there's a lot of people that go to striking classes and jiu-jitsu and things like that, and they're a little high themselves. So I know that you can perform that way. So I wonder if the old school Nate Diaz kind of guys were smoking before they walked into the the octagon back in the day.
I think I can hope that before too long here, I would say before I'm in my mid-30s, I'd like to see nationwide it like not criminalized anymore.
Right, and it could be coming to Illinois and Chicago early as the summer of 2019.
I don't know, like how much longer can these agencies and stuff ignore like the medical benefits of everything?
See, I don't know, because and that's what I want to talk about. Like, instead of just having a pothead conversation, is I think there is some medical benefits to it for recovery, especially too, because
people have nausea problems, dizziness,
anxiety,
problems. It's
all of it, like, or eating problems. Like, maybe if you don't want to eat, but if you smoke, then you'll get a little hungry, and you do eat.
And people just, I don't know. I feel like people who are just the older generations, not people who are our age. I think people who are like our age, and younger,
we get it.
Yeah, and even like our parents' generation would kind of get it. But I'm talking people who are maybe 50,
our grandmas and grandpas,
55 and older, maybe that generation.
My parents in that generation,
they would just imagine that like, oh, everyone's just gonna be walking around smoking joints. It was like, that's not what it's gonna be. It's gonna be what it is now. People are gonna be like in their house doing whatever. Hey, let's get ready for dinner. All right, let's smoke a bowl real quick. Let's smoke a joint real quick. Let's whatever.
Let's bring it back to the athletes. I think that there is some recovery benefits in it, because nobody wants to take pain pills.
Or like you said, anxiety. You got to perform in hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people, depending on who you are.
Yeah. And saying everybody, like, it's not a performance enhancer, because if anybody's done it, some of you guys, maybe have had too much.
Yeah.
That you realize, like, hey, this might slow my reaction time down, so I might be getting punched in the face more.
Yeah. So since we can't really talk about it because it only happened 2 days ago, but how about Tyson Fury? He has a bunch of like, I don't know myself personally if he takes any kind of like medication, but he's one of the more high profile athletes who's had a bunch of mental disorders and stuff like that, and who knows if
I don't know, because he's never talked about if he's ever dabbled in it or not.
I mean, who knows if maybe that's something that could help him, or like you said, the Diaz brothers, like those are two athletes that people want to see keep competing. And I mean, I
want the listeners to chime in comment section on social media, anywhere on a blog post. Let us know your thoughts. Like, if you're somebody who uses marijuana for recovery, for training, for whatever it is, explain like in the comments why you use it.
Yeah.
And then I won't read your name if you don't want me to, but I want to read some of those off in the future, and just explain to some of the listeners maybe who don't, like, why some people do. Or I think if we just all understood each other, that would be a better ground.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if you're using it for like a legit like medical purpose, like you have like chronic nausea or like if you have anything like that, like
or seizures.
Or you need to take, because I think what do they do? It's like CBD oil for people with people who suffer from seizures and stuff.
Anybody who really knows me knows that I'm big on CBD oil for pain, because like inflammation.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you what, I think it gives me like better cognitive focus too.
Yeah.
But I don't want to like dive too much into it. I want to get to the hard hitting question.
Oh man.
That every time I go to the gym, and my friends at the gym are like, hey, who's on the next podcast? And so then I'll tell them. But every time I say your name, I have, not exaggerating, at least 10 people say, is he ever going to come train? And so that's how I know that these guys listen to the podcast. Justin, it is. How many episodes now? This has been
we've been in the 30s
over 6
now.
months.
Yeah, we're in the 30s now.
Over 6 months.
Yeah.
When's it happening? Josh has told me even after the podcast.
The one that looks like you?
Yeah, my
Or
doppelganger.
the one that you look like?
Why? Hang on.
Who's older?
He's older, but can't he just look like me?
No, because you're older. He's older, so you look like him.
Are you age shaming him or are you age shaming me? I'm trying to figure this
I'm
out.
age shaming both of you.
I feel like you're trying to sidestep. Why?
I am trying to sidestep the question.
Dude, Josh told me.
Do you want like the raw answer?
Come in. Your
'Cause I can
your
tell you
first
that
class is free.
Do you want me like the raw answer?
Now, I want you to be honest to our listeners.
Because I'm lazy.
And
I mean nervous, but it's mostly like lazy and just like life, man. Like my work is just, the work schedule. I don't have a set schedule every week. It changes every single week, and so like when I get that time off, like there's other things that like I need to do, man, or like I don't know. I need to quit coming up with excuses.
So I've thought about this, and we had those conversations of like, we know we should eat better because it's going to help us in the long run. We know we should consume more information because, the more you learn, the better off you are. Knowledge is power, all this. My thing is with jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You look across and you see like, oh yeah, he's kind of banged up right now, but I feel so good at the same time.
I know. That doesn't scare me at all. I know what the good hurt feels like. It's not. It's
a little different than the weightlifting hurt. Like what I mean by that is like when you go into the gym and you lift weights and you get that nice like muscle pump and that and that has to rebuild itself. You still get that, but what you also get is like a sore neck because you got choked.
Yeah.
You get, but in those things like like maybe your arm's a little hyperextended or something, a little sprain in your knee or whatever's going on. The cool thing about that is you feel that, but every time you feel that, it's the lesson you've learned from the roll.
Wouldn't it's also got to be cool knowing that your neck hurts because you were rolling with someone and it was at a neck crank? You weren't driving in your car and whipped your head to the left to look at what deal is at freaking Target or whatever.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lesson learned in every one because next time you get on the mats, especially if you're still kind of protecting that injury, is you think, okay, I can't let him get that neck again. I can't let him get that leg lock again. I can't let him get that arm again. Whatever it is. Yeah. And then you become better because then you start, like, your body just naturally just goes to those positions of like, hey, we're not letting this happen. Of course something else happens and you're like, okay, got to learn to correct that too. But that's how beautiful jiu-jitsu is. Yeah. And I think that if you would just dabble in it for a little bit and just succumb to the cult that we all are in, you're going to feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, and the cool thing about it for me is it's made like the relationships I've had, with friends, with females, like with other people just better. Yeah. Because you walk around with a confidence of like self-improvement. You're walking around with the confidence of like, okay, once you've been doing this a while, like, okay, I'm able to defend myself and those around me. And that's kind of the best feeling. Cause that's kind of like a parental, thing of like, people that are parents, they just want to take care of their kids and their family and this and that. It's kind of like that, right? But in a whole nother, like in a form of martial arts of like knowing that, hey, if this hits the fan, I know I can protect you. Or if I know that I can't protect you, I know that I now have a game plan of like, okay, where we're going to take everybody to run to get away. Like it heightens your senses. And I think it's so easy to survive in this world that we've gone away from that. And having something like jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, whatever it is, will at least give you the experience of, okay, we're in a physical altercation, X amount of times a week. So you're constantly exposed to it. So you know how to handle it. And especially in a time where there's all these mass shootings and things like that. Like, I think now more than ever, martial arts is so much more important than it's ever been, because once you know how to handle stressful situations like that, you're way better off in the real world when the stuff hits the fan. So you got to get in this gym.
So you've probably trained in other disciplines besides jiu-jitsu. Am I correct or no? Have you ever done like karate or kickboxing, anything like that? Boxing, okay. So you've done other things before. So for somebody like me who is just one million gajillion% raw who has never done any kind of training. I mean, I played baseball growing up, football, so I've done athletic stuff before. I played basketball with friends, blah 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 blah. You know, I'm not unathletic, but what would be like the perfect, I guess, first discipline to go in, or does it not matter? Is it just, listen, whatever you're interested in, just go and do it? If you want to go box, then go box. If you want to go do Muay Thai, then go do Muay Thai. If you want to do kickboxing, and then, or would you just be like, hey, start with jiu-jitsu and work your way around? Or is it just kind of, if that's what you want to do, then go after it and get it?
Yeah, well, okay, so first of all, if you're doing any form of martial art and whatever, so if you're more interested in something, you know, like boxing, kickboxing, whatever, I just would tell anybody, go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it. See if you really enjoy it as much as you do. If you don't, try another one. Try something else. But just fall in love, because a lot of it is really just consistency and discipline that you teach yourself, because that translates into life. Like, you're not hitting the snooze. You're getting up. You're getting your teeth brushed. You're getting dressed, and you're taking care of the things you need to take care of to have a good day every day. Yeah. And I think that that's what any martial art will teach you. Now, for me, you know, just preaching the gospel, I like jiu-jitsu because it entails two things. Jiu-jitsu is a lot of wrestling. Right. So you're learning wrestling and jiu-jitsu, especially if you actually have wrestling classes too, and you can, you know, do takedowns, takedown defense, and you start standing, because that's where every altercation starts, a bar fight.
And where does it always end up?
Most 9 out of 10, I think, end up on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my fake stat of the day.
I would 100% agree. I would 100% agree with that fake stat you just put out there.
Yeah, but I'm like, I'll preach the jiu-jitsu gospel of, there's nothing more powerful to me than knowing that if somebody really skilled has my back, if maybe once out of every few times I can get out of that and, you know, get back to a neutral position, and we're you know, 50-50 again, battling it all over. Because in life, like, think of how many times, like, life gets really hard. Okay, jiu-jitsu has taught me that you're not out of the fight until you're dead. Yeah. And so anything that happens in life now, there's nothing that's that hard that jiu-jitsu hasn't taught me that lesson of being patient, being calm, breathing, and escaping. Yeah. And, you know, trying to get to your advantageous point.
Well, and also it goes on. Like, I don't know. It just always goes, as long as you're not dead. It is, as long as you're not dead. It's always moving forward. It's never, oh no. When I was coming over here that one morning, I scraped the side of my car. Oh no, my life's over. No, it's really not. You know what? Did the world stop revolving because that one bad thing happened to me that day? No, I still had to go to work. I still had to go do all my stuff. Like, it's just, yeah, you just gotta put up with it and just fight through it, man. It was a month, and you know, just that. And
martial arts will teach you that. Like, there's things like when you're in traffic, think of how many times like somebody cuts you off, you get mad, you're flipping them off, yelling at them, cursing, and they can't hear you. They're probably not even looking at you, and you're the only one who's upset by it by the end of the day. And a lot of people let it ruin their day. And that's another thing that martial arts has taught me, is just let it go, because is it really that important? Yeah. No. And is it going to matter in a week, a day, a month, whatever? Probably not. So just let it go and focus on those things that are going to matter in a week, a day, a month.
Right.
And so that I think that's why martial arts are so good. And plus, you know, it keeps your meat vehicle in shape as long as, you know, you're consistently going. And
this is the time of the year where people start to become more homebodies,
because it's colder.
This is the time of the year where your will is really tested to how much you really want to go to the gym and how much you really want to. Yeah. It's easy to go grab that bag of chips instead of just, hey, let me fry up some egg whites and some wheat toast real quick or something like that. Whatever, you know what I mean? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I even had, you know, I have those discussions with myself. Like, I got home from work and I was like, man, I don't really want to go to the gym. I just want to be lazy. I just want to sit, you know, on the couch and just kind of rest, because the body was sore from earlier in the week. But I told myself, I was like, nope.
Those are the days you need to go.
Yeah.
Those are the days the days you absolutely need to go to the gym are the days that your body is telling you that it doesn't want to go to the gym.
Right.
Those are the days you especially need to go. Like when you wake up feeling great, oh, I'm going to go to the gym. That's amazing, of course. But the days you don't want to go, I've been told from people who are like, you know, serious, like those are the days that you need to go because you need to test yourself. Like, right. That's day one to quitting right there. That's the first step to quitting is, nope, I don't want to go today. I'm not doing it.
Right. And I was gonna say those are the days that train your mind.
Yeah.
Because, like, for example, like if you're paying for a gym membership, whether it's, martial arts or lifting weights or whatever it is, and all those days you don't want to go, but you make yourself go, because it's different when you have something like work that pays you to go. So there's that little extra incentive. I think people become a lot more mentally tough when they're paying their own money to go do something, and they could be easily like, nah, this doesn't hurt me. I'm paying for this anyway. I don't have to go.
Right.
But those ones that on those days like, man, I don't want to go. I'm not feeling it today. But
you wake up, it's like this outside, and it's ugh.
Yeah, but still end up and go. That right there, it imprints, I think, in your brain a good form of discipline of saying, hey, this is what's going to happen in my life, and I'm not going to let my weak mind overtake what I want to be.
I've never left any kind of workout, whether it was playing basketball or lifting weights or doing. I've never felt at the end of a workout like, oh man, I'm so mad that I did that. I've never ever had that feeling. I've never had that feeling. It's like, oh man, I wish I didn't do that today. Now I've like tweaked my knee and been like, oh well, maybe I shouldn't have done that extra set or whatever. Okay, that happens. But like, I've gone to the gym upset, like I don't even want to go today. It's freaking raining outside. I just want to sit home and watch this new show that's on Netflix. Blah blah blah. But wake up, make those egg whites, eat that piece of fruit, go to the gym. And at the end of it, you're like, that's the toughest thing I'm probably going to do today.
Yeah.
So
stop eating egg whites, though. You're getting rid of the best part of the egg.
Okay.
But all right, so we're getting close to wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Justin, end of the year episode, put a date on I will go to jiu-jitsu with you, Steven, by the end of X month in 2019. When is it? And don't make it so unrealistic like a year from now. The fans are going to hold you accountable because I'm telling you, the guys at the gym, especially that listen to this, they want to know. Like, I think they're like little vampires, honestly. Like, I'm going to put a little fear in you here. They're like little vampires, and they can like smell that there could be this fresh blood coming in.
Yeah.
And they just want to bite your neck a little bit.
I don't know. First quarter of the year, I guess, end of March. I don't know, man. There's stuff going on, man. Like, I've already got stuff going on in the earlier of the year, man. I'm going to the Dominican and got stuff going on, man. I'm going to try. Are
you going to dangerous territories and you don't know any martial arts?
Basically.
Justin. What's up, son?
Yeah.
It's a dangerous game.
All right, so one more question here before we wrap. I'll give you by the end of March. I need to get there at least once.
It better be. What are you looking forward to in 2019?
That's the question. 2019, what is there something you want to accomplish, or what are you looking forward to?
Well, I have a lot of podcasting and brand goals, and I'm slowly chipping away. So
just give me Steven's personal goal.
Okay.
I the brand.
Well, that's all like brand goals and stuff like that. But like, I'm gonna just run through them really quickly. Like if hopefully you're following along at headkickradio.org and you're seeing the technique videos that have been put out, or just put out one, I should say. So far, we're gonna try to put out more. You've seen the blogs, and I'm talking about different things, trying to see what you guys like and don't like. So please, leave feedback. Trying different styles of things. I want to make, this a video podcast so you can get it on YouTube and see us acting a fool, especially when I get the crazy characters in here and we're doing a fight companion or something. Like, I have all those kind of goals. I'm graduating college in less than 2 weeks, so I don't have any more school goals. That goal has already been accomplished.
Congrats. Congratulations early, by the way, buddy.
Thank you, my friend. And I'm looking forward to the awesome matchups in the UFC, Bellator, ONE FC, the potential of like all these jiu-jitsu superstars that have now announced they're, coming to MMA, whether it's Bellator, ONE FC, whatever it is. I'm looking forward to all that. I think boxing's back. It's big again. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to doing more jiu-jitsu, honestly, trying to get better year by year, day by day, the small things like that in life. But I'm really interested to see like who can I line up to have these great conversations with in the future, because this year, in year one, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, then it sounds like too, I'm not going to give anything away here, but it sounds like you've got some pretty cool ideas up your sleeve, or
I'm not wearing any
whatever
sleeves.
you're wearing. You're up your Pant leg?
There we go.
You got a good idea up your pant leg. You got something hidden in your sock. How about that one?
Hey, yo, if ladies are listening.
You got something hidden in your sock for the rest of the year, man. So I hope the listeners are ready for that.
I hope so too, guys. And if you have anything that you want to see from me or even Justin, like chime in too and let us know.
Yeah, is there something you want us to talk about?
Justin, what do you look forward to in 2019?
Well, so this kind of wraps into the question you just asked me. I definitely want to take my health more seriously. That's okay. That's the generic. That's generic New Year's freaking resolution. I want to lose weight. I want to quit smoking. I want to blah 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 blah. Like,
I want yours to be. I want to start jujitsu.
I want to get into.
Now here's what I really want. I want you to try jujitsu. I want you to try Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, whatever. I want you to try a couple of different ones, and then, dude, if you like one of them, go for it.
We can talk about this off air, but like I've heard that stuff's like expensive though too. Like if you like if it's something you legitimately are into, like you want to go and train, if you want to be able to train whenever you want, not whenever, but like hey, I can go to any class I want whenever I want to. Heard it's like pretty expensive. I've heard.
Okay, that's all subjective because I'm gonna tell you right now. Think of it like this,
and I don't want your friends to think that like I'm like saying anything negative.
No.
This is so far from the case.
I want to teach you a life lesson that I constantly have to have, talks with myself about, and I talk out loud. I get a little crazy with myself because I tell myself right now, and it's because I'm watching people in my life that are older, friends and family figures. I'm watching them deteriorate in the age of 60, and I believe with technology and what we know about health and nutrition now at our age, we should not be falling apart in our 60s.
Yeah.
So every time you go to the gym, whether you're running, whether you're doing martial arts, no matter what it is, think of it as you're putting in now when you're paying for it for future health insurance. Okay.
Right. So
you're in what you eat and everything like that. Now that's why we should all be taking care of ourselves for the most part, is because instead of paying thousands, 100,000, millions of dollars later in health insurance stuff because we failed to take care of our bodies and we're falling apart in our 50s, 60s, and 70s because we ate McDonald's every day. This is future health insurance like policy that you're banking on. So like I'm big on taking vitamins.
That's one. Yeah.
I'm big on drinking lots of water. And I think about that every time I do something, like, because it is when you pass up a soda that I've, passed up for 4 years now, when you pass up fried food and things like that, that you really love, like just because of the taste, and you think, man, it's the old Joe Rogan saying, you can't just give in to a little bit of a few seconds of mouth pleasure for your overall health. And so when people say like, yeah, the gym's expensive, dude, that's so true. But we also live in an expensive city. So like if you didn't live in the city, it's not as expensive most places. But it's also, it's priceless because you're getting knowledge. Like I will 1000% tell everybody right now, with a college degree, I have a trade degree in plumbing with a bunch of certifications that I can do a lot of stuff with. Nothing has meant more or realistically taught me more than jiu-jitsu. The knowledge of learning how my body works, how other people's body work. Because at the end of the day, what good is this, production and directing degree in television going to do for me in a post-apocalyptic world? And that's just a hard, extreme example. But jiu-jitsu, that's going to go with me forever.
Right.
It's one of those things like...
Well, I totally understand that. But that's... Those are the, not just me, but, that's another thing that tends to probably scare people off of trying these things is because those prices, those numbers can be scary. But one thing I also need to start you can't go and act like you're Rockefeller because I don't have that kind of money.
Right.
But also you're not going to take it with you. Like
see, you know the answers yourself here. You asked the question, but you know the answers. But I'm just telling you, it's future investments in your future health, your mental health, your physical health.
Yeah.
And I feel like while we're young, we can't get lazy now. Because what we do now are going to set the traits of who we are when we get older.
Right.
So if we're lazy young, we're going to be lazy when we're older. We're not just going to be, all of a sudden we're going to turn 40, 50 and be like, okay, let's flip the switch here and change this. No,
Right.
We've got to do this now, and you've got to get that discipline. You've got to invest in yourself now, because if you don't invest in yourself now, you can't expect somebody to invest in you later. Like, you're going to trust Blue Cross Blue Shield to invest in you later?
Right.
No, they're probably going to cut your health insurance.
Right.
It's business. So don't leave it up to anybody else to take care of you. Leave it up to you. It's the same thing like in any relationship, friend relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend relationships, whatever it is. Like if you want the relationship to go well, you have to invest in it. Right. Same thing with you. You have to invest in whatever it is you're doing. With like people with their careers, if they invest in their careers, chances are they're going to have good careers.
Right.
It's one of those things. Invest in, and I always feel like you can't control the outside world, but you can always control what you do. So invest in yourself and control you.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Yeah. So another answer to your question is what am I looking to do in 2019? Obviously, take. That's a super generic answer. Like, take care of my body more, be more, health conscious and stuff like that. Of course, eat as much romaine lettuce as possible.
My goodness!
I'm just kidding.
You just went hard in the paint there, sir.
But also, I want to travel more. My family growing up, it's nobody's. It's just how our family was. We didn't travel very much. We went to places that we already knew to go visit family and stuff like that. I want to go to places that I've never been before. That's why, like I mentioned, the Dominican. My girlfriend's brother's getting married down there, so I think that'd be really cool. I mean, there's places in the United, and I'm not saying international. I'm saying even in the United States alone, there's places that I haven't been that I'd like to travel to.
Yeah.
So
see, that's another good thing about martial arts. Get really good at one form of martial arts. Travel and do seminars.
Yeah. So I mean, that's another thing in 2019 I'd want to do. So those are maybe my two main things. And it's crazy to think 2019. It's my last year in my 20s.
I don't even want to talk about that.
I understand, but it is wild to think that
your boy's turning 30 this month.
Well, okay, just one more random question, and this, I don't know, whatever. Like, do you remember how old you thought people were when they were 25? When you were 13?
No, think of this. Like back in 1500, 100 BC. Like, we're about to the age where all the great philosophers and everybody that were deemed great philosophers, we're their age.
Yeah.
And then in 35, they're dying off.
Yeah. But no, I'm saying I remember growing up and having like a cousin or whatever, 20s and 30s. I'm like, oh my God, they're such an old. I can't wait to get there. And I'm like, I'm there now, and I'm like, they don't know. We don't know what we're doing. We're all just we know what we're doing, but we're all just, hey man, we're all just taking it one day at a time like everyone else.
No, jiu-jitsu has taught me I know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, that's just kind of what I mean. Growing up, you thought 25 to 30 just seemed like so much older than you, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
no, I still
people had their stuff together.
Yeah. I still have there's still that cynical thought in my head that that was there when I was 14. It's oh yeah, maybe you should just do the bad thing or whatever. I don't know. It's
everybody goes through that. But we're all flying around on this planet trying to figure it out.
It's so crazy. I'm gonna be in a year and a half. I'm gonna be 30, and honestly, I don't feel it at all. I don't know. I guess I still have the mentality of I'm not old. Okay, I'm not sitting here saying I'm
get
on
the mats. You're gonna feel it.
I'm sure, but I don't know. It's just weird. Age is just a weird thing where it's I feel like when you're you're supposed to feel differently, but I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel the exact same.
I'm a little disappointed that you're not thankful for the fans. I'm very thankful for our fans and our listeners.
I'm thankful for everything with this podcast.
I am too, man. It's been a good first year.
It's been a great first year.
Or 2018, I should say. It's not
we're just getting started,
podcast year. But yeah, man.
All right, man. So this might be it for.
This is it for us
for the rest of the
2018.
2018. So, thank you, Head Kick Radio listeners. Have a happy holidays. Have a happy New Year, and I'll see you on the other side.
We're gonna die and we're gonna pass over everybody. All right, it's been good. Justin, what are we?
We out.
Say hello to the stars above.